Welcome back to the show. Today we're joined by an incredible veteran comic artist who's been in the industry for over a decade. During that time, he's worked on multiple major projects for DC Comics, including Green Lanterns, Trinity, Wonder Woman, and several Superman-related series, and even did a book for Ryan Stegman's Vanish. On top of all of that, I've had the honor of working with him personally. He's contributed phenomenal work to Death Shroud universe, bringing his signature artistic voice that is instantly recognizable. And what I admire most about Ken isn't just that he's super talented, but it's the professionalism, the way he handles deadlines, communication, consistently delivering top tier work. And it's that level of reliability that is very rare and one of the many reasons he stands out in such a competitive field. So without further ado, please welcome the insanely talented V. Ken Marion. How are you doing, man?
Dude, that was a hell of an intro, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, the accolades.
Yeah, it's great to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's we always got to do the comic book origin story, right? So let's start at the beginning. How did you first break into the comic book industry?
Yeah, so I went to college. I decided when I was in high school that I wanted to draw comic books. I was in, I think, 10th grade when Batman Hush was coming out, and that was kind of like that, the one-two punch of that, and like Michael Turner's covers on Flash were kind of like what made me kind of connect that individual people do this, and this is a job to do. So I always loved superheroes, I always loved comic books. I got really into like reading comics in high school, and then decided that's what I wanted to do for a living. So I went to college at Pratt Institute, and I was a major in animation, but I always wanted to. So I was doing comics on my own. And every like elective class I took would be like comic book kind of related or illustration related classes. And one of my teachers there, his name's Floyd Hughes. He was an inker and penciler for Marvel like back in the 90s, and I mean still does stuff now like with storyboarding and stuff. But he was really kind of like pushed me and like kind of like took me under his wing and like gave me guidance and stuff. And he told me to go to New York Comic Con because it had just, when I was in college, that's kind of when it was starting up again, like the big read versions of New York Comic Con. That now is like the New York Comic Con. And so, yeah, I think it was either the second or third year that they did the show. I just went with my portfolio and I would just show my portfolio to editors. And that first time, I remember my teacher's like, "I wouldn't be surprised if you leave there with a job." And in my head, that was like, "Oh, I'm gonna drop out of college. I'm gonna draw Justice League. Like I'm gonna draw X." But like, no, it was not that at all. It was every editor was like, "Well, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is
Really?
bad, this is wrong." Oh yeah. It's because when you're looking for work, especially like editors at conventions, they're seeing so much of it, and so like if you're like way off, like if you're so not ready at that point, they're just gonna tell you because like they just don't want to waste their time, you know. So like at that point I was like super green and there was like all this stuff I needed to work on. But I made a connection with Frank Mastromarro, who is the owner of Aspen Comics, and he like saw some stuff in my work but definitely told me like, "You're not even close to being ready yet." But like Michael Turner, again, Michael Turner, Aspen Comics is his company, so like I'm a huge fan of his work and I really wanted to work at Aspen. So and Frank gave me the best feedback. I still to this day think Frank is like one of the best editors that can like see the diamonds in the rough and kind of project like where like someone's gonna go to. And if you just look at Aspen's track record, like they've got so many people that they've like, you know, worked with, and they were like Jason Fabok's a good example. Like he was the first guy to like see Jason Fabok and put him on a platform, you know. So he's really great at that. And so I recognized that he was giving me the best feedback of everyone. It just wasn't like, "Hey, get out of here, kid," you know. And so I went back a few years consistently just like showing like everyone, but mainly wanting to show him my stuff. And then after after my first convention was 2008 when I went, and so it was 2012 when Frank hired me, when he first like hired me to do stuff. And before then I had done a little bit for Boom Studios and I had done a little bit for Xenoscope, but it was so not consistent. You know what I mean? It wasn't consistent. It was just like one issue here, one issue there, and it was like I still had like a day job and stuff, but it was like with Aspen, that's when I could like make it my full-time career. And you know, and that in Aspen, what was so cool about them is that when they found an artist, they had the artist do the entire miniseries and the A covers as well. Like they were like investing in the artist, where like a lot of companies don't do that. They'll like get a guy to do the interiors, but then have like, you know, a big name do the covers. And Aspen, while they do variant covers with big names, they'd always have the interior artist do the main cover. And I think that's
Right.
like really cool and really important too, because I think as a fan, like I want the cover art to match the interiors. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, so yeah, that was kind of my long roundabout way of how I got into the industry.
That's great. So, I mean, the boom, that was at least a piece of like that was a portfolio. So that
Yeah.
allowed you to, slowly build it, and then working with Aspen, that really obviously put you on the map. And then from there, so uh, what was your first gig at DC?
Yeah, so how I got to so at Aspen, I worked pretty consistently with JT Cruel, who was like one of their main writers, and JT at the time was doing a bunch of work at DC, and he still does. I mean, he does a lot of work in animation now, so he does a lot of stuff with Aspen still, but he does a lot of his works in animation and TV and stuff. But he was doing a lot of work at DC, and he knew that I like really wanted to work. I was a huge DC fan, growing
Yeah.
up, and like me and him have like really similar like storytelling sense of like the stuff that we liked growing up. Like we both did a book. The last thing I did at Aspen was with him called A Journey, and it was this fantasy, this like high fantasy kind of Pirates of Dark Water kind of adventure book. And we just had such a blast working on that. And he knew I really wanted to work at DC. And at the time, DC was doing their DCYOU event, so it was like an initiative that was in the New 52, but it was toward the tail end of the New 52, but before Rebirth. It was when they were trying all this like really funky stuff with a lot of their characters, and like that's when Superman had like the buzz cut and the T-shirt, and like Wonder
Right.
Woman had like the armor and stuff. So like that era, and and JT had this idea that he wanted to do like a horror kind of like CW, not CW, but like a horror mystery kind of book set in the DC universe, but and to reintroduce the characters from Bloodlines, which was this '90s event that was it was DC making all these characters to compete with Image at the time in the '90s, and so they hadn't used these characters in forever. So it was like we want to like reintroduce like the New 52ified version of these characters, but make them very like real world and mystery and like horror and like small town kind of Stranger Things vibe to it. And he pitched this to them, and he showed them my work. I was like, I want to do it with this guy. And Dan DiDio, like I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know, but he told me that Dan DiDio just said like he loved the pitch, loved my work, greenlit the project, and
Wow.
we were off and running. And like it was funny because like again, it was the whole miniseries. I did the whole thing. I did all the A covers. It was like the same kind of deal like with Aspen. And then JT was like, I just want you to know it's never this easy. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And then like I quit after that message. I quickly realized that like, oh no, it's not this easy. It's very hard to get like things juggled and timed, and that's so much of the industry is just like timing, which is very frustrating. Like the timing of everything just can make or
So,
break things.
yeah, totally, totally relate to that.
Yeah.
So so again, focusing on the early career, what were some other big hurdles? So you were talking about, you were taking your portfolio to conventions, hoping to get picked up. On the previous podcast with Chris Royale, he actually said that he encouraged artists to not approach anybody at a convention.
Really?
Yes, he encouraged everybody not to approach people at conventions and pitch your work, because they're already stressed out. They're trying to figure out what they're, running around, getting to the next meeting or what have you. And they're more inclined to say no or reject something during that time.
Is he talking about story pitches or like art? Like,
He was talking about, like pitching them to pick up their series. Like, oh, I got this new idea.
Yeah,
Will you greenlight my
yeah.
series?
Okay, yeah, that I could definitely understand that. Because like for artists, I feel like conventions are the only place you can
Where
really
you get the
like, meet these
face to
people.
face. Yes,
Yeah, it's
I
like
know.
really, it's like because like you can only make so much. Like it's so frustrating because so much of the industry is networking, and
It's a
that's the
huge
thing.
part.
And that's the thing that I'm like the worst at, right? Because it's like I want to make genuine connections with people, right? And
Right.
I don't just want it to be these like stepping stone relationships. Like I want to be like, no, I really want to like get to know this person, be friends, like whatever. But it's this fine line you have to ride with like your artists, other artists, editors, writers, where like you've got to touch base with them enough so they know you're there, but you can't do it too much where you're annoying them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So conventions seem to be the best place to try to approach people, but that's also like a whole big like quagmire because like you don't want to like approach at the wrong time but you only got a sliver of window to do it. So it's a very stressful aspect of the industry that I feel should be easier than it is, but
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing in gaming. Back in the day when there was a big thing called E3, which everybody knows what E3 is. Uh, that would people would try to catch. Oh, like that's the developer, that's the business development, and the best approach. And now this is different, slightly analogy, but the best approach would be to connect with them months leading up to that event, schedule an actual one-on-one if you can, and then meet with
Mhm.
them. At the convention at your scheduled meeting, so that it's a structured sit down setting opposed
Yeah.
to, oh my god, he's running by me, hey mister, can you please, not to say, like, sometimes at the end of the day that will ultimately work, but I do get what
Mhm.
Chris is trying to say.
Oh
So
yeah, 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 for sure.
um
Especially if you're pitching like a full
yeah,
series kind of thing. I'm
exactly,
referring more to like
your work, like,
artists trying to
yeah,
just like get work for hire kind of stuff. Because
yeah,
like, but like so like I because I get approached every time at conventions from like up and coming like aspiring artists, and they're like, how do you break in? And like I honestly don't really even have an answer for that anymore, because the way I did it, it seems to be that like they're not even reviewing portfolios at conventions anymore. Like it's
mm,
like almost like you have to like find an editor that you know to show them your work, but they're not going to be at the artist at the company's tables. They're just kind of like walking around. So it's like it's this very strange thing. Like I guess now you want to post your stuff online, and like you're saying, maybe try to reach out and message them, but like, again, you don't want to bother them, so it's very difficult. Yeah, I guess that's the my advice would just be do everything you possibly can, like post online, post on your social medias, try to make connections through social media with editors if you can, but also go to shows. But going to shows, I would say, be strategic about that. There's really only New York and San Diego I would recommend,
mhm.
like trying to like really make a go of like trying to like meet editors. I mean, the California shows, there might be some more like, like the LA Con or whatever, there might be some more publishers that like Marvel and DC won't be there, but like, like Aspen or like IDW or those kind of publishers might be there. Um, but like the random ones throughout the country, like I wouldn't really go to those looking to meet editors. You go trying to network with other artists and writers for sure, but like it seems to me that the real industry ones are really kind of New York and San Diego.
Right, right, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So going back to your journey. You're at Aspen Comics, and obviously Michael Turner is an influence on your work. Can you talk to me a bit about like how his style has shaped um, your own artistic voice?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, what really drew me to Mike's work was like everything looked like really heroic and epic. Like
Mm,
his characters, like the women were beautiful, the guys looked strong, like, and the way Peter would color it, like the way everything was just like lit and colored, like he just had this like there's like a nobility to like everything that he drew. Like everything looked like regal and epic and like big and just kind of like in your face, but also like clean and sharp. And like he
mhm,
also was the first artist that I noticed that like was mixing that kind of like anime kind of like look into like Western comics. Like I know there were guys who did it before him, but I just wasn't aware of it. Like for me, it was the first one I saw where like oh, he's like taking these things that I really liked that I was watching on like Toonami and Cartoon Network, and like taking those aesthetics and like bringing them into like superheroes. And that like really spoke to me a lot. And just like the way he would draw movement, and like the way he would draw hair flowing, and and like his storytelling was so like unique, especially of that era, because that was the era when like everyone was doing like widescreen kind of panels. And Mike
mhm.
would do some of that, but like he had these really great page layouts where he would, and this is something that was kind of imparted to me working at Aspen, then even more again at DC, was that like like you want to have each page have like one cool like big image that you kind of want to craft the rest of the page around,
I
and
love
that's like
that.
yeah, and that's something that I think a lot of artists don't think about. And I think it's like because this is where I kind of like my philosophy on storytelling may differ from other artists' philosophy on storytelling. Like I think when people say storytelling is the most important thing, I 100% agree with that. but I don't think that's just limited to the story being clear. Like I think when you say that, a lot of artists interpret that as you understand what's going visually from panel to panel, right? And yes, that's absolutely like the baseline of good storytelling. But like what makes storytelling great is that like you do that plus it's exciting and like visually dynamic, right? And like I think that can be sometimes where some artists struggle with like, and so that was something that Mike was really good at, was just like hooking into those moments that you remember and like big and in your face, you know? And yeah.
Yeah, your storyboarding is really incredible. Like I always I always use an example of, because I'm a big fan myself, but of someone, let's say like Greg Capullo as an example, like a Scott Snyder, incredible, like one of my favorite Batman runs of all time, lots of panels, but just very much like kind of grid, right? And that you bring such crazy dynamics to even the paneling layout, and the flow of the page is just so exciting as much as the artwork. So
Oh, thank you.
that's no, I mean, dude, it's just evident on the page, and like seeing all the fans like check out your artwork and talk about it on Dash Shroud. Like it's people are big fans of your work, dude. And I'm excited to see, like, you did a cover for Tyler Kirkham's Final Boss, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, like that was like perfect fit for your art, man. Like
Yeah.
that was a great. I'm happy that he reached out for that. That was a perfect fit. But yeah, like your artwork and your panel layouts are stunning, and definitely among the best in the industry. So
Oh, thank
talking
you.
so talking about DC again. So working on massive properties like Green Lantern, Superman, Wonder Woman, what have you, that comes with like a lot of responsibility and pressure.
Mhm.
So can you talk to me about, like, you know how you handle some of that pressure of interpreting and having to meet I guess the fans expectations of like iconic crazy characters like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's now I try to not, right now I'm at the point in my life where like I try to not think about it. I'm at the point
Right.
now where I'm like I want to make something that I think looks cool and have fun with it, and that's kind of where my headspace is at now. But when I broke in with DC, that was so not my headspace. My headspace was like, oh, I've got to live up to like Jim Lee and like Greg Capullo and all these guys, right? And so like that like really locked me up, especially early in my time at DC. I worked on a book called Trinity, which is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and like that I just put so much pressure on myself on that. And like I look back at that now and I'm like, oh man, I wish I drew Batman differently. I wish I drew Superman differently, because like so much of it was like trying to fit into like the Jim Lee vision of those characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Jim Lee's one of my favorite artists. So it's like I
Yeah, he's
want to be as
incredible.
good as Jim Lee. Yeah, and I so badly wanted to do stuff as good as Jim Lee, but like because of that, I think my own maybe artistic voice got a little stifled on Trinity, and I was just
Mhm.
trying to kind of like ape Jim a little too much. So that's one of those things where like I really want to have like a run on Batman and a run on Superman where like I kind of like do like my own thing with those characters. That's kind of my desire now, because like because like you know how Todd McFarlane, like when he took over Spider-Man, he made it his own completely,
Right.
and like that's something that like that's kind of my ethos now. With like when I take on these characters, like I want to make them like visually distinct to me. And so like with Green Lantern, I think I've achieved that, where like the way I draw Hal, the way I draw Kyle, it's like to me it's like very unique to me. Like no one else
Yes.
draws Hal or Kyle like how I do it. So whether you like it or not, like that's up to the reader. But like to me, it's like I'm really happy with it because to me it feels like me, you know.
Well, I mean, at least for me, I want that too. Even bringing it back to Death Shroud, going from Canon's work to your work, like you have your signature look, for variant covers, for everything, I want always the artist to draw their characters in their voice and bring to it, their unique flair, and make small changes to have their voice speak on the
Yeah.
page. And even what you were echoing about, trying to emulate, or trying to be too similar to Jim Lee. Mark Silvestri even said that. He said in his earlier work, which Mark Silvestri is one of the best artists in the world,
Oh yeah.
he said that he felt that he was trying to be too much like Jim Lee, and that he wanted to kind of refine his voice. And now when you see his work, it's very distinct from than when
Mhm.
his earlier work. Like now it's like he's
Yeah.
got that like kind of hatchy,
Yeah.
scratchy detail, which is awesome. Like I don't know if you saw his Batman
Yeah.
run that he did, but it was
That was
phenomenal.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally I hear you on that.
Yeah.
So
Like
so
with well, I mean, going to Death Shot really quick when you said that, like that was for me like definitely a huge challenge at the beginning was because Kanan did these like beautiful designs for Death
mhm,
Shroud and but like I also recognize that like I would never be able to ape this like what he did one to
mhm,
one and like I have to find like a way that one is going to look like my stuff, but also two that I'm just going to be able to draw quickly. Like, I
right.
mean, well, as
I hear
quickly as
you.
I could for how
Yeah.
detailed that shot was, right? Because like if I was trying to do exactly what Canon did, it would have taken like twice as long as what it did, you
Yeah.
know. So that's definitely one of the things too. Is like just like simply like when you construct figures, just like constructing figures, like every artist does it differently. Like when I did Vanish with Ryan, he did because he was writing it and he did layouts like thumbnails and he told me he was like and that was the only time I ever did that where like I would work off someone else's thumbnails like usually I just do all my own storytelling and stuff but he was like he wrote it he was very adamant about like the way he wanted it told so part of that was like he was like I'm doing the thumbnails are you cool with that and I was like yeah totally and he sent me the thumbnails he's like yeah I've got these sizes right you can just kind of like blow them up and then like lightbox them and like I tried doing that for like the first 2 or 3 pages and I was like really fighting against it because like the way he constructs figures is different from how I do it. And I was
Right.
like, after like the second or third page, I was like, I'm just gonna like eyeball these. Like I'm not going doing like wasting time blowing these up and stuff. I'm just and like and it locked in for me once that because like even now like I don't lightbox anything. Like I do like little thumbnails on paper and then I just kind of like eyeball it to the paper. And sometimes I'm able to nail it exactly in the thumbnail, and sometimes it looks better, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, it's just that's just how it is. But like that's just the way I do it because like for me like adding all these extra steps like printing them out lightboxing scanning like it sucks the fun out of it for me and I want to like have the work be as close to that like sort of spark of like creativity and joy that I had when I was a kid and adding all those extra steps like makes it more and more clinical like each step makes it more clinical and less like fun and for me also adds time like that's the thing that
Mhm.
I don't like because when I was looking at Ryan's process, how he does like his thumbnails digitally and then blows them up and then light boxes his layouts onto like paper and then like to me that would just take me like twice as long. So I mean, but if it works for him, it works for him. Like everyone's got their own process, you know.
Yeah, it's actually really cool insight. I'm happy you shared that. That was really cool. I didn't
Yeah,
know that. That's awesome.
yeah,
Um, yeah, because I've seen obviously working like for with Death Shroud stuff, working with different artists. I see how like their process is, but I didn't know that about Ryan. That's really cool. Actually, I learned something
yeah.
new. So talking more about DC and working with like a major publisher like that. So this question is a two-parter. So share to the audience like what it's like the collaborative process with working with DC with editors, writers, and approvals and that chain, as
Mhm.
well as like any insight that you can share that fans might not expect about that process of working with a major publisher.
Well, I mean, it's I feel like it's less mystical and mythic than people think it is. It's very much just like a job. You know what I mean? So and also a lot of it is a lot of it, especially with when you're working at like the big companies like DC, like a lot of it is just like those trains are moving and you got to hit those deadlines and you got to go as fast as possible to just make sure everyone's getting their stuff in on time to hit those the shipping dates. So yeah, it's I mean it's not. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty much what people would assume. Like, you know, I get a script from the writer, I do my layouts, send those in, get approved, do the pencils, do the inks, send it off to the colorist. He does his part and then or her part, depending on who I'm working with, and then that goes to the letterer and it's out the door. You know, I mean, it's very much yeah,
So
just kind of
so
like
but so I'm gonna pin you down on a couple things there. So
okay.
for working with a major publisher, how much like what is the pressure in terms of the output? Like how many pages do you have to get out a week, or you're like gonna be in trouble?
Yeah, so I mean, so it doesn't go by week. It's more like they give me a script, and then there's like a deadline, which is usually like 4 to 5 weeks. I usually get somewhere
Okay.
in there. Sometimes it's a little more, maybe you can
So
go all up to
you would do
6.
all pages within the 5 weeks, let's say.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so yeah, and then I'm just sending them in as I get them done. I usually send them in like chunks. So like the last when I was working on Nightwing that in the fall, that would fell in between. There's New York Comic Con, and I had a show in Detroit, and so it was like the worst timing for New York Comic Con. So like that was like the biggest crunch I ever had, was like leading up to New York Comic Con, because I had to get this issue of the Nightwing was due the Tuesday after New York Comic Con. So I was like, I've got to get this done before Comic Con starts, because there's no way I'm doing pages at New York Comic Con. So like what I did that in that scenario was that I just did the pencils for the entire book first. I usually don't do that. I usually do like a chunk of 5 and then ink it, chunk of 5 and then ink it. But this, because like inking for me is like I'll go into this later, but so I just did all the pencils first so that I could get all those approved so that I could ink. So if I had to ink at the show, I could ink like figures, faces, whatever at the show, and then just do the backgrounds when I got home. But yeah, for me, like penciling is faster, but it takes way more like brain power, and inking is slower, but I can kind of almost do it like while I'm like listening to podcasts or talking to someone, or you know what I mean? I could ink at I have this past fall like inked pages at the show.
How do
to, like,
you
get them done.
guys like? How do you guys not get like burnout? Like you must have like your like seriously, like your wrist must be like made of steel. Like
It hurts, yeah. I mean, I've got I've been having neck issues this whole year. Like I've
oh my
gotten
God.
gotten multiple MRIs and stuff on my neck because I've just been having such like issues with neck pain this past year. But yeah, burnout definitely, it's definitely like a thing for sure. And like just you just need, like, for me, like when I get like super burned out, I need like a week or whatever
Just
to
to
just like recuperate and like
you got to do your stretches and stuff, man. Go to the gym,
oh
spend
no,
time on doing stretches
that's the
and
most important thing. Like I feel like yeah, I got that advice like literally back in college, because like back in college that's when I got into like exercising, like working out and stuff, because I was like, I want to look like Superman, I just want to get jacked, right? But I remember when I actually interned at DC when I was in college, and I was in the elevator with Mike Carlin, who was the Superman editor, and like I knew who he was because I'm like, I'm a fan of this stuff, so I was like, hey, Mike Carlin, right? He's like, yeah, and I'm like, I'm interning on the 8th floor, whatever floor it was on, and he's like, oh, good to meet you. I'm like, yeah, I really want to be a comic book artist, and he's like, oh, the best advice I can give you is eat healthy and exercise. And I was like, right on. And it's so true. It's like literally like when people ask me for advice, that's always what I tell them is like eat healthy and like exercise, lift weights, run, like cardio,
it's
like
important.
whatever. Because it's so true. Like health is wealth, right? Like especially in like a job like this where like it's like your creative passion, you could easily just like if you let yourself just kind of spend all day drawing and doing nothing else, and like that's
Right.
horrible for your physiologically, you know what I mean? It's good for you creatively, but it's horrible for you like physically, and like so you do need to prioritize like going to the gym, stretching,
Totally.
whatever it is. Like so yeah, I that's like something that's in my day every day, is like go to the gym every morning, and like I just try to like it used to be like I just wanted to get like as ripped as possible. Now it's just like I just want to like feel good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
and if there's like an aesthetic byproduct to that, that's awesome. But if not, like I just want to like not be in pain and like just feel good.
The advice I would give anybody is definitely like if you have a desk job, it's super important to go to the gym at least 3 days a week and lift heavy weights and eat your body weight of protein and have those
Protein,
protein have that protein in about 20 to 30 grams of protein, and have that like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 to 5 times a day. It's spaced out every like 3
Yeah.
hours or so. That's my advice to anybody.
Yeah.
So going back to DC again. So you've been working at DC, you've been working with them for a long time. From what I've seen and what I've been told, across the board, no matter whether it's gaming or whatever, talent can be tricky, and everybody is vying for their their time to shine. So how can you talk to me about like the process of maintaining, working at DC and maintaining, getting projects, because it can be tricky. It's not easy like everyone just thinks of, like, oh, it's just, you know, it's a ever evolving flow of project after project. Like, you have to
Yeah.
be constantly, knocking on doors and reminding them that you have to exist. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, because it's all freelance, right? So like once you break in, you have to stay in, and
Hmm.
that's just as hard as, I mean, I won't say it's just as hard as breaking in, but like staying in and like continuing getting work is like, it is difficult. It's something you have to constantly work at because there's so many people that like want these jobs, and it's like I'm competing with jobs from like someone who just graduated from college and like Walt Simonson, who's a legend. You know what I mean? Like there's all these people, like the people from like the 70s and 80s, they're still working, and there's new people coming in. So there's all these people wanting to do it. There's limited spots, and like what I was saying before is like timing is like everything, right? It's
Hmm.
like, and that's kind of thing. So like the best thing is to like build relationships with editors,
Hmm.
and how you do that is when you get opportunities, you hit your deadlines. You don't screw them with like like ghosting them and like missing deadlines and like hurting projects. You do your best work you can, get it in on time, and be friendly, be nice to talk to and to work with, and don't be a jerk. Don't be crazy.
Don't be
And
crazy.
yeah, yeah, and like just do your best and just keep letting them know you're there and you want work. And it's something that every artist I know is like at some point has to like hustle to do. Like I remember I never met him, but I saw an interview with him. Did a interview with Mark Miller like a year ago. His name's Travis Charest. This guy was like
Yeah.
a legendary artist, like
Yes.
legendary. Like he's like, you ask any artist like about Travis Charest, they'll be like, this guy's like one of the best to ever do it. Like, it's freaking
Hmm.
amazing. And he was saying on a podcast with Mark Miller that he was like having trouble getting work. I'm like, he's like,
Wow.
what? Like, and yeah,
What?
yeah, it's because, and what he was saying was that because he's slow, because his
That's
work
it.
is hyper detailed, and like, and he's very particular about it, and like that, it's this combo of like, you got to do good work, you got to be fast, you got to be reliable. It's like kind of like a little bit of everything.
Todd McFarlane said in an interview that, if you can hit deadlines, you'll have a long career. And at the end of the day, detail and quality matters for sure. But if you can't get the product out in time, and you screw up the whole thing, then it doesn't matter how good you are. You're gonna, the management team is, they're gonna label you as not reliable.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I think Brett Booth is like one of the best artists.
right, dude.
Like
He's still
dude,
doing it. Amazing.
he's incredible. Brett is like, he's
I
a really
love
good friend of mine.
Brett.
Yeah, and he's like, not only is his work like flawless, like in terms of
It's
like the
insane.
anatomy and the storytelling, it's so dynamic, it's so like everything just looks perfect, but like the details off the charts,
Mhm.
and he does it quick. Like I
Yeah.
literally don't know how he does it. He blows my mind every time he posts something.
I am a big fan. I was so happy that he did that cover for us on Death Shroud, and I he did two actually, right? Because he did the one for the Indiegogo originally. He's amazing. He's always been super kind, and his talent is unbelievable. I think, like, I would love to see him do a Batman run. I hope he, before he retires, I hope he does
Oh
like some
yeah.
Batman, because I really like how he draws Batman. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
he did in the New 52. He did like a 3-issue arc on Superman Batman, like the team up book. It was
yeah,
only 3 issues, but it was cool because they were all like sideways. I'm not sure if you remember that, but like the entire he drew them all like horizontal. So like you read it
interesting.
like vertically flipping. Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, that's really cool. Interesting. I've seen his Batman work, like, on the internet, of
Yeah.
course, and like looking at it like that. But that's cool. I'll have to check that out. He's the fact that he's killing it on Spawn. His Spawn looks gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
So we got a couple minutes left here. Let's let give this to you to talk about, what's going on with you right now. So what's upcoming? What book should people be looking for right now? Talk a little bit about your indie project,
Yeah.
um, and anything else that you want to share right now.
Yeah, so for DC over the summer I did a bunch of Green Lantern stuff. And then in the fall I worked on Nightwing. So issues 133 comes out this week. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but it comes out tomorrow actually from when we're recording this. So in December, 133 is coming out, and then issue 134 I also drew. That's coming out in January.
So December 17th for listeners. So December
Yeah.
17th is when it's coming out. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Is 133. Yep. And super excited about that. Dan Waters, awesome writer, got to jump in this team and help finish out this story arc. And Nightwing's my favorite character, like the Bat family character. So
Yeah.
so stoked. I've been wanting to draw him forever, and getting to do these 2 issues was such a dream come true. I'm hopefully in the future I'll get to do more with him. And then yeah, and so then after that, I've got in the new year some more Green Lantern stuff coming up. I can't really talk too much about it because I don't think it's been announced yet. I don't want to get in trouble. So, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing more Green Lantern with Jeremy Adams, and then I've got my creator-owned book, Battle Chronicles Soul Striker, which we funded on Kickstarter, and what was it, a year ago now, and then we shipped them out this past summer, and we did a second chance campaign on Indiegogo. So if anyone's interested in checking out my creator-owned work, you can go to the Indiegogo, go to search Indiegogo Soul Striker, SOL-STRYKER, and you can order books on our Indiegogo, and I'll ship them out from my shipping office right here. And yeah, they'll be out super quick, and it's think Gundam meets Final Fantasy meets X-Men. It's like it's a fantasy sci-fi concept that takes place in this fantasy world where humans are at war with a race of monstrous creatures, like think like vampires, werewolves, like gargoyles, kind of thing, like monsters, and they're in this kind of like militarized war with each other, and it kind of follows the story of where the world goes from there, like to see where the next steps go with how the humans are dealing with this war with these creatures. And yeah, like I said, super fun. It's something I wanted to do, like where it just encapsulates everything I loved as a kid, and just give you that feeling of like playing PlayStation 1 and N64 and watching Toonami from like the early 2000s. So if you're into any of that kind of stuff, I highly encourage you to check it out. I co-wrote it with my friend Jason Matthews. I did all the art for it. And Andrew Dahlhaus, who colored me on Death Shroud, is the colorist on this book, and I think it's some of the best work I've ever done in my career. So
it's
really
amazing.
hope people check it out. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
honestly, it's amazing. I would love for it to be a game. Like Ken, everybody knows that is also a big fan of like Final Fantasy, and like it brings all of that energy, epic splash pages, epic action, awesome giant swords. Just really also cool ideas. Like I think I was texting you about this before, but there's like this one splash page that is like a dialogue page, and the way that you captured the people like walking through the palace or whatever, and like continuing to have a conversation reminded me, like it was such a cool. It reminded me such like of a video game.
Yeah,
I
that's
really liked it.
It was supposed to harken to like the PS1 Final Fantasy, like
So
top down,
cool.
kind of like
I loved it. It was such
thank
a
you
great
so
book,
much.
dude. I thought it was really cool.
Thank
So
you.
definitely check that out. And I guess so. One last question before I let you go, and I gotta ask you, what did you think of the Superman movie?
Oh, I liked it. Yeah, it was fun. I really liked the new actor playing Superman. I thought he was really good. I thought he had like that sort of like, not like Christopher Reeve, but that kind of like optimism that Superman, like, I mean, I love Henry Cavill, but he's more like badass Superman, where this was like a different flavor. This was more kind of back to like jovial Superman, which was cool. The action was cool. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm looking forward to see like what the next chapters are. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the next Batman movie too, because apparently they're starting to film that.
Yes, same. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I would want more. So I enjoyed I enjoyed the Superman actor. I enjoyed the Lois Lane. I was actually completely okay with throwing you in the mix and introducing all of the characters like that, because I think everybody knows at this point. Like I think if we're being honest, everybody knows what's going on. So I liked it. I thought it was an interesting, different take, and obviously they wanted to do a different direction of tone to establish themselves, and then you're talking about James Gunn as well. So I liked it. I think Supergirl looks fun. I love that they're going to have Lobo. That's going to be really cool.
That's going to be rad, yeah.
And I'm excited for more. Ultimately, I want superhero movies to do well, because that just lifts up everybody in the space. And to your point, Batman 2, I can't wait for that. That's probably my most hyped superhero movie that I'm most looking forward to is the Batman 2. I really love the first one, how it's like the
Loved it.
approach of like
Yeah.
it's a detective, like kind of like the movie Seven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved his boots. Like I loved his
Yeah.
like his like battle armor that he's wearing. I just thought it was
Loved it.
really cool. Very
This might
cool.
be this might be a hot take, but that movie came out a while ago now, so I think I can
Yeah.
say this definitively. Like Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. Like
Is
flat out,
he?
he is. Yeah, I really like the suit. I love that. I love that he's in the costume more than he's not, and I love that
Yeah,
most of his dialogue is in the suit. Like I
that's
think that
true.
was like such a different take, and I love the like it felt real world, but there was enough of that comic book fantasy in there. Like it wasn't so real world like the Nolan movies were. Like those were just like
Right.
straight up reality. Where this is like, no, there's still like it almost felt like the Arkham games mixed with reality a little
Yep.
bit, and I dug that. I thought the fighting was cool. I really
Love the
liked it.
fighting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I loved it. It's probably actually my favorite Batman movie.
yeah, me too. Yeah,
But I don't know if he's my favorite Batman, but that's not. I'm not throwing shade on him. I loved it.
yeah.
Like it's my favorite. It's my favorite Batman movie. I just might have cast. I guess my criticism is a little bit superficial. My criticism would be I wish he put on a little bit. Give him the steroids and get him a little bit more buff.
See, I like that he wasn't. So this is
Michael
so I was.
Keaton. Michael
No,
Keaton
no, no.
Batman.
Oh no. Well, yeah, he just didn't work out at all. No, but like I was literally talking to Andrew about this today, our colorist, that me and him talk on the phone all the time, and we were talking about how like to me Batman, it doesn't make sense why he's drawn so bulky because like the
Right.
amount of like
You have
like
to be nimble. Yeah.
yeah, he should have like an MMA Bruce Lee esque physique. Like he shouldn't look like a weightlifter because like
Right.
anyone who works out or does sports or anything knows that like with the sleep schedule that Batman supposedly has and what he
Right.
usually eats, he would be like scrawny as fuck. Like he would not be big because he never eats, he never sleeps. Like to get that size, you need to like your world revolves around that, right? And so to
Right.
get that size, like I mean, there is a part of it where it's like, oh, it's fantasy, it's comic books, like whatever, don't think
Right.
about it. But like, yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, the super bulky like Ben Affleck take, like to me, like it doesn't make sense for him to be like a martial artist and to be like grappling hook and like climbing and like doing all
Right.
this like sort of like high impact cardio that you'd have to be doing as Batman, you know?
It's true. I mean, even in real life, any black ops soldiers,
Yeah,
they don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
yeah,
That's not
yeah,
the reality of it. But
yeah.
yeah, that's it. I at the end of the day, I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was the best Batman film to date, and I can't wait to see Clayface as well. That's another one that I'm really
Yeah.
excited about the potential of that.
I'm
But
excited about Lanterns too. I'm very
oh
excited about
yes, the
that.
HBO
Yeah.
show. I forgot it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That trailer, did you see that little like snippet they put out? It
No, I
was like
haven't. Dude, I haven't seen it. I forgot, completely forgot about Lanterns, man.
they put out like a 15-second snippet on Instagram, and it's basically them like driving in a car, but like it looks cool. Like it looks really good. Like I really like the actor playing Hal Jordan's Kyle Chandler, who was the coach on Friday Night Lights. I'm not
He's
sure if you
also
ever
from
watched.
Bloodline, right? The show, Netflix show Bloodline. He was
Never
also
seen
in.
Bloodlines.
It's
I don't know. Yeah.
really good. If you like him,
Yeah.
he's cool, very cool actor.
Yeah. So I'm stoked about that show. And the guy playing Jon Stewart looks like Jon Stewart, like looks like picture perfect Jon Stewart. So I'm stoked about that show.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's good. I can't wait for that because I need something to watch. I got nothing to watch right now, man. So I want something premium. But okay, dude. Listen, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for taking the time. A lot of cool industry insights that I hope give people some idea of what it's like and some of the challenges in the process. And we got a deep dive on V Ken Marion's journey. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, man.